Hey, Lucas here for Mahoney Glass. Today I'm going to show you how to do a flip disc. It's a pretty useful technique for many different things, but a lot of times you want to draw a picture on the glass, and all you got to do then is you flip it the other way and the picture's on the inside and you get a nice depth to it. Or you might want to do a wrap and rake, or draw some lines and do a wig-wag. Doesn't really matter. There's a whole bunch of different things you can use it for. Be creative and figure out what you want to do for yourself. So let's get started. So here are the tools we're going to use. Paddle, a couple of reamers. I recommend having some tweezers set aside. And then the glass we'll be using is just whatever size you plan on using. I recommend using smaller stuff to start out with Zippo as well. I'm going to be using some gold and silver, which will have some fun effects over the white and black and clear for the lines for the wig-wag that I'm going to use. And here's what you're going to make. Ignore the fact that I make it roll over what you're going to do with round stuff. Anyway, that has been flipped, came out quite nice, everything's very clean on it, and here's some up-close pictures. Okay, there's not going to be too terribly much dialogue for this entire thing because most of it isn't going to be focusing on this. So I'll give you a quick overview of what's going to happen. Is here I'm going to be fuming half gold, half silver, and then I'll be putting a pattern of 6 black lines, 6 white lines, 6 clear lines, all alternating. And after I do that, we'll be stretching out, which I'll mention later on in the video. You'll also notice that a huge portion of this video is sped up. Most of it isn't going to be exactly what you want to do for the flip disc, but it is a pretty decent version of a wig-wag. Anyway, I'll be doing a wig-wag video later, and you can check that out when that's done. Anyways, putting on some gold. Almost always do gold first when it's this kind of piece, mainly because the silver on the outside after that helps whatever glass you're going to use stick onto it. And you will also notice later on I grab a piece of clear rod for fuming, and that coats a layer of the sodium flare, or I guess it would be sodium oxide, which allows the glass to stick better on top of gold as well. Alright, so when doing a wig-wag, I'll give a little bit of an explanation of this. There are pretty much two different ways you can do it. You can keep it all the same diameter for the tube, or you can bring it down to a taper. It really depends on the application, and again, like I said, I'll explain that later on in a different video. But for this one, since I'm going to be bringing it down to a point, it's not going to be separate pieces. I'm going to have it more of a taper. It makes it easier to have more twists in it with a smaller piece. Anyway, I'll try to get a video for that done sooner than later. Okay, and now that I've gathered back all of the wig-wag in the pattern, I'm going to make it a full-size bubble where I'm going to blow it up to the point that the entire pattern is less than half of the bubble. By that I mean is that with the clear and the pattern on the front, if you look at it sideways, your pattern will be more than half, or sorry, less than half of the bubble. See it right there, you can see where it is. Alright, so now that we got the bubble where we wanted it to, now you're going to focus the flame just on the pattern and you're going to let it melt so it becomes flat. Now we've got it nice and flattened. Now the goal is to let it slump inside, and it helps to have a nice even heat through this whole process. And once you have it to where you want, you can allow gravity to help you out a bit. You can even pull a little bit in, and you see a little bit inside, nice. You got the clear all the way to the edges, and now we're going to put a puntee inside of it. Quick note on doing a puntee here, you want to do a really good cold seal. If it's too hot when you do it, you'll end up knocking off a whole bunch of your pattern when you knock off your puntee. So keep that in mind when you attach your puntee here. Now here you're going to want to focus your flame on the edge of the bubble, but not so close that the flame will go inside and affect your puntee. Starting slow is good, but you don't want to have it wobble too much. Alright, so we're getting pretty good right about now, and what you're going to end up doing is you're going to blow it up very thin and then pop a hole in the side of the tube. Alright, now use your flame to cut around it. Since it's thin, it'll cut really nicely with the flame. Don't worry about having too much, just try not to have the glass go inside and touch it. Now grab some 4mm, 5mm rod, whatever you want to use, to clean off the outside edge of the disc. The trick here to do this is back heating, and you're pulling the glass away from you. So the left hand will rotate the bottom, whereas the right hand will rotate away from you as well, and just keep your heat a little bit in front of where you're pulling off the clear glass. As you get better at it, it's pretty easy to only make one pass, but if it's uneven, you can always go back and heat up the extra blebs and peel them off too. Okay, now grab another puntee, and I'm going to do a seal. Doesn't have to be quite as good as the first one since you're not putting it directly on your pattern. And what you're going to do is focus the heat on the edge of the piece, melt it so that it starts to slump forward to give you more of a cup shape. And just take your time. You can use paddle if you want. You'll notice I'll use one a little bit later to help me get it turned the way I want it to be. And yeah, that's just about it for this part of it. And here's what it looks like. Got a couple of pictures so you can see it from the front, from the side, and then from the top. You'll notice all the colored glass is on the inside of it. All right, so pop it open. Try not to make it too thin like I did there. Not a big deal. You can just go back and clean it up with some 4mm, 5mm glass rod. Not a big deal. But what we're going to do now that we've got it flipped, I'm adding it just to clear glass. You can use it on whatever piece you're already going to put it on. That's what I'd recommend doing, but this is just the example to show you how to do it. So anyway, the general idea here is that you're going to flare it open and get it to the exact same size as the disc you've just flipped and do a nice hot seal and melt it in. And that's about it. So just watch the rest of it. You'll notice I had a little bit of an issue. I didn't get the part I'm working on right now as hot when I sealed them together, but that was easy enough to be fixed by using the L-Marver and some tweezers just to push it a little bit closer together. Okay, so when doing the seal, I recommend getting the clear glass, or if you're using a colored glass, that side hotter so that you don't distort the image that you made in the flip disc. So now, just gonna melt everything in and make sure it gets nice and even. You'll notice I'm using my L-Marver quite a bit. I actually had a spot that wasn't quite as perfectly sealed as I would have liked it to have been, and that just fixed that up. Anyway, that's basically it there, and just finish blowing up the bubble or shaping however you plan on using it. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the bell, like, and subscribe so you can get all of the new stuff that comes out. Also, make sure to head on over to Instagram and check out our feed there. Trying to keep it full of wonderful pictures for you to check out, as well as I'm streaming on Twitch 3 times a week, as well as we have a Discord set up if there's any videos you want to see or if you want to chat, whatever. And also make sure to drop by our website and check out what's available there. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Bye.